Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be having a look at a brand new GX card. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking at Persian-GX. This goes along with my, didn't see that coming list of GXs. We've already this week from Sun and Moon 10 Double Blaze looked at Honchkrow GX and Wintercott GX, neither of which I would have predicted was coming. Today, ladies and gentlemen, it's a job of Persian-GX, and I'm going to go out on a limb right at the beginning and say, yeah, I really like this. I could definitely see this seeing some play. Now, our translation here does come from the lovely David Hochmann over at limitlesstcg.com/translations. And to start off, it's got 200 HP, which is about right for a Stage 1 GX. It's up there with Lycanroc. Retreat cost of 2 kind of sucks. Weakness to fighting really sucks. You've got the same weakness as Pikachu and Zekrom, same weakness as Zoroark. People are going to be gunning for that weakness. Something like a Buzzwole will still run through you. Sad face. And being a colourless Pokemon means you're not hitting anything yourself for weakness. There is no weakness hitting going on. So we're going to need something to like about this, and the good news is there are things to like. Primarily here, I'm looking at the ability. If one of your Pokemon EX or GX was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may search your deck for any 2 cards and put them into your hand. It's called Catwalk, and you can only use 1 Catwalk a turn. That means if you've got 2, 3, 4 Persian-GX out, you cannot search for 4, 6, 8 cards. That would be ridiculous if you could. No, it doesn't stack. We're seeing a bit more of this lately. We looked at Incineroar the other day, whose ability added 30 to all of your attacks, and we said there that this one also doesn't stack. But make no mistake about it, searching for any 2 cards is absolutely brilliant. This is basically twins or teammates. Or indeed, and I know it's not seen a huge amount of play because it's been awkward and water decks haven't been particularly good, but let's not go forgetting about Crash Awake here. Searching for 2 cards is good. And any time we've had searching for 2 cards, and look, water decks are playing Crash Awake, there just aren't very many of them at the moment. When we can search for 2 cards, this is good. Obviously, this is really, really good for Stage 2 decks. You can go and get that Rare Candy and the Stage 2. But I'm really thinking Ultra Beasts as well here. Because Ultra Beasts, you can go ahead and search out a couple of Beast Ring, and then you are absolutely up and rolling with that. Or maybe you go behind on prizes and you search for a counter gain to reduce your energy cost and a counter catcher to go and have a free gusting effect. There are many, many different things you can do with this. Searching for 2 cards is awesome. And it's any 2 cards, which makes it better than Alolan Ninetales, whereas when you evolve up, you get 2 trainer cards. So I just gave you a bunch of trainer examples. But remember, Rare Candy Stage 2 will absolutely work. But you could search for stuff like Triple Acceleration Energy. It's free of any energy, but you can only attach it to an evolved Pokemon, and it gets discarded at the end of the turn. Yeah, that's going to come up again in a moment. You can search for your counter energy to get your Pokemon working. We don't have any good ways to search special energy at the moment. This will allow you to search out your special energy. That's what's so important and exciting and amazing and brilliant about this. It lets you search stuff you can't usually search. It lets you search for that perfect supporter. So you could just search for a Triple Acceleration Energy and a Guzma, and then you're off and rolling. Sure, Alolan Ninetales might be better for grabbing double Beast Ring, but it only lets you grab double Beast Ring, whereas this will let you grab a Beast Ring and a Beast Energy to let you do an extra 30 damage, etc. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this is a flat-out, over-the-top, phenomenal ability. Now, I should mention it only comes in if a Pokemon EX or GX was KO'd during your opponent's last turn. Now, it doesn't seem to say by damage, according to David's translation, so something like a Decidueye dropping damage counters, yes, that would be fine. But remember that Shrine of Punishment KOs between turns, so incidentally does Burn and Poison. So if your opponent KOs through Shrine of Punishment or Burn or Poison, There is no KO during your opponent's last turn, and this ability doesn't come into effect. And yes, I know you've got to have an EX or a GX KO'd in order for this to work. Fine. Because you know what? Your opponent is going to KO EXs and GXs if you're playing them. Why not? Why not just play a 1-1 line of this just in case? Yeah, it's got a bad weakness and it's vulnerable to Guzma, but so's any GX on your field. This is a really nice ability. And of course, if it gets damaged, you can pick it up with Ace Roller. And if it's not damaged, you can pick it up with Giovanni, that new one we saw the other day, that lets you discard 2 undamaged Pokemon from your bench. So it's not like it's got to stay there forever. I see this very much like Dedenne GX and Alolan Ninetales GX. It's worth playing just for the ability, because the ability's great, but if you can get it off the field after using it, that's an advantage. But we do have a really good attack here, far better than we'd see on something like Dedenne. It does 10 damage for free energy, which clearly does not work very well, but you add 20 more for each Pokemon in your discard pile, up to a total of 190 damage. You cannot do more than 190 here. Having said that, 190 is enough to KO a Buzzwole. 190 with a Choice Band goes up to 220, and that's enough to KO a Zoroark. So we're not doing too bad here. Tag Team GXs like Pikachu and Zekrom will unfortunately be slightly out of range, but it's nothing to stop using something like a Tapu Koko in the early game to spread a bit of damage around. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I've seen much, much worse than this. 190 is good. And let's be clear, 190 for free colourless energy is great. If we look at something like a Ho-Oh, it does 180 for 4 energy and you can't attack next turn. This just does 190. This just does a flat 190. In terms of big, bad damage, this is really good. The other Pokemon that comes to mind when you're talking 190 is Flareon GX, who also does 190 and also does it for free energy, but it's colourless, not free colourless, and you've got to discard 2 fire energy to use it, meaning that Persian's attack is way better. And of course, this is where triple acceleration energy comes back. Persian is an evolved Pokemon. So 1 triple acceleration energy, and this is going. This is a single energy attack now. You can do 190 damage for a single energy on a Pokemon that has a ridiculous ability. Tell me that doesn't sound absolutely over the top, redonkulously great. Because frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I do think that sounds pretty great. Now, as for discarding Pokemon, there's a whole bunch of things we can do. Obviously, you've got the traditional things like Ultra Ball to discard them from your hand. It would make me think Zebstrika is probably your Pokemon draw of choice, because it lets you discard your hand and draw 4. So that's going to get them in the discard. But don't forget about the Spiritomb from Team Up. 1 colourless energy, search your deck for up to 4 Pokemon and discard them, then shuffle your deck. Well, yeah, that's going to get you pretty gosh darn close, pretty gosh darn quickly. And look, if you're going this route, if you're doing the whole let's discard a bunch of Pokemon and smash with Alolan Persian, might I remind you about the Zoroark in Team Up, that for a Darkness double colourless, does 20 damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile up to a maximum 200. Now, Persian, because of triple acceleration energy, can do this for a single energy attachment. Zoroark can't, but it's also a non-GX and can actually do 10 more damage, which is relevant because then with a Choice Band you're getting stuff like Greninja and Gardevoir, which will be slightly out of range of your, your Persian. So, yeah. Zoroark's not been quite good enough because the attack cost has been a bit too expensive, but using Alolan Persian here, with just Zoroark as maybe as a bit of a backup, yeah, I can see that working very nicely indeed. As for the GX attack here, 150 damage for free colourless energy, switch with one of your bench. We're starting to see a lot of GX attacks repeating nowadays. This is Golisopod's GX attack. This is literally Golisopod's GX attack. Except triple acceleration energy makes it better. They're both stage 1s, they both do 150, they both switch to the bench. The difference is that Golisopod's hitting for weakness, admittedly, and Persian can do it for a single energy attachment. And with a choice band, you're getting stuff like Blacephalon and Tapu Lele, so you'll get some KOs with this. I don't think it's a great GX attack, incidentally. It's not a GX attack I'm particularly excited about using. I'm not loving it, to be perfectly honest with you, but it is an option, it is there. Certainly if you don't have enough Pokemon in your discard pile, especially in the early game, this might be a nice little option while you get your Pokemon in the discard pile. Incidentally, I'm probably not using Spiritomb in this deck. I'll put 1 or 2 in for emergencies, but I think the way you get this working better is trying to rush and use things like Ultra Ball and Zeb Striker and really searching out as fast as you can with stuff like Timer Ball. That's where I'm thinking with this. But the fact of the matter is, you've got a really good attack for a single energy attachment, a decent GX attack for a single energy attachment, and an absolutely phenomenal ability. And look, you can play Alolan Persian on its own, but you can also just chuck it in a deck for the ability. There's going to be games where your opponent gets KOs with Shrine of Punishment and you don't get to use it, but there's going to be plenty of games that you will. Incidentally, Tapu Lele basic Pokemon, Dedenne basic Pokemon, turned off with Alolan Muck, this will not be turned off by Alolan Muck. Something to bear in mind there. Also, right, if you are playing this, whack at least 1 triple acceleration energy in there just so you can use the main attack. Because honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it's a really nice attack. Let's give this 4 Wassies. The fact that it can be played around by taking KOs in between turns makes me a little bit nervous, but we've got a great ability, a really good attack, and it's a colourless Pokemon that can do it for a single energy attachment. 4 Wassies might end up being a little bit too low. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are, that's what I think, but I would very much like to know what you think. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays for some more lovely Wassie action. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.